We have Woody Kincaid from the men's 5,000 final. I will be asking questions on behalf of the media today. Could you just start off by walking us through the race?
I mean, it was just like every Olympic trials race. It was pretty wild. Immediately, so I was standing next to Paul on the start line, Paul Chelimo, and I was already kind of wondering, okay, so is Paul going to take this out hard? He said that it's the heat. He really likes the heat, and he's known for taking races out hard. So as soon as the gun went off, I can only give you my perspective, right? I looked at Paul, and he immediately went to the back. I was like, okay, so this is probably going to be a slow race. And so I kind of sat in on the back. And it was strangely, even though we weren't running that fast, I think we went out in 63, which isn't actually that hot for a first lap. It was pretty strung out at the very beginning. And I think everybody was just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen, how it's going to unfold. And Paul decided to start moving up and was like, okay, I'm going to go up with Paul Chelimo in case he wants to make a big move. So I moved up with him, and I got myself in second or third position. And I was just kind of wondering, like, where is everybody? I don't know what's happening with Hillary Bohr, Paul Chelimo, and I don't know where Grant is, but I'm gonna stay here for the duration of the race. And that's kind of how it went for a few laps. And then in the middle of the race, I got the impression that Hillary Bohr and Paul Chelimo wanted to trade laps. So I went up to Paul Chelimo. I was like, okay, I'll take it, because he started to make he went to the front and he started to press on and off, and I felt like a slight pressing and decelerating. Man, I'm really going on. I'm really walking you through this, but I think at that point I thought, okay, he wants to break the field, and I thought I could take over for a lap and see how I felt. And I went to the front, and I realized, like, I just don't have it in my legs today to really press. So I let Hillary Bohr take back over, and from there on out, it became a kicker's race and a shuffle. We just kept shuffling through, and with 3 laps to go, I kept trying to find a way. I got boxed in on the rail, and I kept looking over my shoulder, kept trying to find a way to position myself better. But wisely, nobody gave me a lane at all. I mean, I could not get out of there. And I remember Cooper Tier was next to me. He was like, come on, man, just give me a shoulder, give me anything, and I'll take it. And he just would not. So credit to him. And with the lap to go, I was like, okay, this is going to be a full-on sprint at this point. And I started moving all out very early because I had to get outside. And I remember coming with 200 to go and actually thinking, all right, I got out of the woods. I finally got out of this of being blocked. But I just kept having to go wider and wider and wider because Grant, I don't want to clip Grant. He's being pushed by Paul Chelimo outside. And so I can't take the inside lane because I don't want to clip Grant. I don't want to have that possibility of clipping Grant. So I have to keep going outside, and pressing. And down the stretch, I was like, realized that I wasn't going to catch Chelimo and Grant. So I kept looking over. I looked to my left and saw that Cooper's right there. It's like, okay, I'll beat Cooper and finish up. Man, so yeah, there you go.
Thank you. That was very detailed. That'll be great for the quoters. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, usually I'm pretty short with my answers. I thought this time I'd explain.
Thanks. We appreciate it. We got a question here from Kayla Fenton. Can you describe the team dynamic at the Bowerman Track Club? How much does it help to have teammates in the race with you?
I mean, that's the thing is, it really is a team at Bowerman. I think a lot of people know what a team culture is with running with cross country. And I think what's interesting about Bowerman is that we have kind of like a team culture, a cross country culture, but on the track. And so, like I said, even though Grant's right there, I don't want to risk I don't want to like take him out at the expense of getting second place or something like that. So I think, it's a huge advantage to have somebody there that you've been training with, that is going to help you if you need them. And mentally, that's a huge edge.
Thank you. We have a question from Eric Bull from diestat.com. Only 6 American men have ever placed in the top 3 in both the 5,000 and 10,000 at the same Olympic trials, and only 3 have done so in the past 60 years. What does it mean for you and Grant to become the first pair ever to do it in the same year, especially being teammates?
I mean, it's the dream, right? That's what we've always hoped that we could do, and to come out and do it is what we dream about. So I think, I hope it sets the standard for all of Bowerman, that we can do this, and hopefully we can do it again, and for teams to come.
We have a question from Doug Binder. If you think back to that night at Nike in September of 2019 where you ran 12:58, what impact did that moment have on you between then and these trials?
Well, I think it actually wasn't the 12:58 race. I mean, that race definitely put me on the scene, but it was actually so many years of working out with guys that are capable of running 12:58 or faster. Like, I'm working out with Mohamed. So I mean, yes, having a great performance builds confidence, but it doesn't necessarily. It's the day in, day out, knowing that you've worked with these guys all for years to really know that you can step up your game in a race.
So you touched on this a little bit earlier. You're mentioning the last lap was basically a sprint. We have a question from Ken Go saying, Woody, could you describe that last lap?
Yeah, I just knew I had to get out. And with a lap to go, I was like, I'm in a terrible position, but I can still do this. Like, I know that I can run like a 52, 53, and I could get these guys. So I started sprinting very quickly, very early. As soon as I got out, it's just laying everything down on the outside. And I really think if I was able to get to the inside, I might have been able to finish better. But I mean, hats off to Grant and to Chelimo for running a smarter race.
A couple questions from Rojo. They said on NBC you went back to altitude after the 10,000. Can you talk about that? And what's the plan between now and Tokyo?
We did. We went back to Park City after our race just to kind of get out of the atmosphere. The plans for Tokyo is I think we're going to, I mean, there's talk of maybe going to Hawaii for a few weeks before. I think everything's kind of up in the air still. I don't know exactly what the team's going to do, but I'll just follow what Jerry wants to do and what the team wants to do. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But the plan is to be in contention and to medal in Tokyo.
Another question from Rojo. You had the best last lap but finished third. Do you wish you were closer at the bell, or was the focus top 3 and not necessarily the win?
No, I definitely wanted to win, man. I think that I ran, opposed to my 10K, I ran a much better race. But like I said, I got on that inside lane with 3 laps to go, and I didn't feel good today. But that, I just was constantly looking over with 3 laps because I knew I had to get out and I had to get on the shoulder like Grant did. And I just never got that moment to do it. So yeah, I definitely didn't have my best race, but I had to make the team. Yeah.
And then again from Rojo, will both you and Grant run the 10K and 5K?
I think so, yeah. That's the plan.
And another question from Rojo. Do you have a problem with Paul running you guys out to lane 4? Do you think he should be DQ'd?
No. I think, in the trials race, there's clipping, there's talking, there's going to be, you got to do what you can to win in the race. And I think he made the right choice. Yeah, so credit to him.
We talked to Connor Mance earlier, and he was saying that he was having difficulty recovering from the 10K earlier this week, preparing for the 5K today. What are your tips or strategies for recovering to prepare for another long race?
There's really nothing else that new that I've ever done. I think the most important thing to do to recover is always to sleep, to find a good night's sleep before after a race. A lot of people will have a good race and they'll be like, okay, I'm going to celebrate. But I think you have to stay within yourself after a good race. And you can celebrate, of course, but make sure you get that recovery.
Thank you. Reminder to the media, if you're still typing a question, please raise your hand in the chat so we can wait for you. And that looks like that's all we have from the media. Thank you so much for talking to us and congratulations.
Thank you, guys.